Tēnā koutou te iwi te Atiawa o te iwi Taranaki. Karanga mai mihi mai aku rangatira. Tēnā koutou te whānau o te whare Paramata. Kia ora koutou katoa. Aha koa kore ahau ahi ki te kauhau I ene momoi piri. I te wā I noho ana I runga I te turu o te mana whakaawa, ka mihi ahau ki te Atiawa a te iwi Taranaki I tēnei rā whakahirahira. Ka hoki nā mahara ki te unga kua wehi atu pine I a Wikitoria Keenan ma a he mea nui te mata ki taki E tēnei kaupapa. Ki apai, te airi I Hauma, ka wakorongo pikari aho aha koa kauri aho kia kōrero ki te waiata taku nākau. Nā mihi nui. A koutou no reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou. Tēnā koutou katoa.
Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Christopher Finlayson.
Mr. Speaker, I move that...
Bill, second reading.
Well, we're underway. Mr. Speaker, I move that the Te Atiawa Claims Settlement Bill be now read a second time. This bill gives effect to a deed of settlement between the Crown and Te Atiawa that was signed on a beautiful late winter's day in August 2014 in New Plymouth. The settlement comprises historical redress, which records the breaches and the past injustices caused by failures of the Crown, cultural redress, recognising the traditional, historical, cultural and spiritual association of the people of Te Atiawa with a number of their most culturally significant sites, and financial and commercial redress, reasserting the role of Te Atiawa in the region. For me, I want to acknowledge the excellent work of the Te Atiawa negotiators, and I was so pleased, sir, that you mentioned Wikitoria Keenan. The last time I saw her was at the signing of the deed. She was unwell but made every effort to be there. I acknowledge my ministerial colleagues and government and other agencies who have contributed to this bill, and I also want to acknowledge the work of the Māori Affairs Committee on their commitment to exploring very comprehensively the matters raised by submitters. The committee began its consideration of the bill in April this year and considered 8 submissions from interested groups and individuals. The committee also heard oral evidence from 5 submitters at hearings in New Plymouth and Wellington. The committee has recommended the bill be passed with a number of amendments, which include changes to clauses relating to fines for offences under regulations and bylaws, an addition of a subclause to ensure nominations for iwi representation align with those in the Ngāruahine Claims Settlement Bill and the Taranaki Iwi Claims Settlement Bill, amendment of the definition of the Taranaki Iwi clause to include hapu to the extent that they are composed of individuals who no longer form distinct communities within Taranaki Iwi, a self-repealing clause over the Waitara Lands clause of the bill so that it's repealed on the same day that the Waitara Harbour Act and the Waitara Borough Reserves Act are repealed, and other minor technical amendments which are not specifically referred to in the committee's commentary on the bill. Sir, I want to say something about the Waitara Lands as well as other issues the committee raised in its report. No one is in any doubt at all, and especially after last night's debate, that the Waitara endowment lands are of huge cultural and spiritual importance to the people of Te Atiawa. The lands have been the subject of very intense negotiations between Te Atiawa and the Crown and the Council over a number of years. In its commentary on the bill, the committee provided a useful summary of these negotiations and the resulting recommended amendments to the bill. The committee also notes their concern that the bill does not address all of the issues raised to them regarding the lands. During the final stages of the settlement bill, the New Plymouth District Council proposed a Waitara Lands local bill. The local bill will, if enacted, render one aspect of the treaty bill redundant. In light of the proposed local bill, the committee recommended including a self-repealing clause within the settlement legislation to account for the local bill. My officials are going to take an active part in the Select Committee work on that local bill, which, as we know, was sent to the Māori Affairs Committee last night, and we look forward to working with the Council and Te Atiawa to reach a durable outcome for all parties. Can I pay credit, sir, to the negotiators who have had to make some difficult decisions and significant concessions during settlement talks. This pragmatic approach and willingness to work with both the Crown and the local council has enabled a pathway forward that provides a realistic opportunity for the people of Te Atiawa to be involved in future consultation and negotiations, which recognises their aspirations in relation to these lands. In its consideration of the bill, the committee addressed the right of first refusal land. While the committee is not recommending any amendments to the bill in relation to the right of first refusal list, it notes that some committee members considered there should be a mechanism in settlement legislation for land that becomes available at a future date to be offered back as a right of first refusal, even if it doesn't appear on the list. The difficulty here is that once a list is agreed and the deed signed, it's subject to the overlapping claims process and being ratified by the claimant community. The Crown's objective is to achieve fair and durable settlements with groups. Ratification and the overlapping claims process ensures a balance is maintained between addressing the grievances of one group without creating further grievances for another group. To undo either of these key aspects of settlement negotiations risks unsettling the balance which is achieved at the negotiating table. Mr. Speaker, this bill brings to an end many, many long years of negotiation between Te Atiawa and the Crown. The settlement is the end of a long journey that signals the beginning of a new journey into the settlement area, which I sincerely hope will be a new and improved relationship with the Crown and a time for peace and a time for looking to the future. And I believe it can be if the Crown honours its undertakings and acts in accordance with treaty principles. Before I commend the bill to the House, I need just to say a few things about the events of the last few days. I'll only make these comments once rather than in each of today's second readings, because I'm very disappointed it was not possible for these bills and the Ngā Ruahine Claims Settlement Bill to proceed to a third reading tomorrow. I was particularly looking forward to tomorrow for the iwi of Taranaki. I remember very well, and perhaps my good friend Mr. Okoroa was there as well, Maui Pomare Day in 2009 at Owai Marae. I think I startled a few of the OTS officials for going off message when I suggested that it would be great to enter into negotiations with the iwi of Taranaki, and I remember very well March 2010 when we signed the terms of negotiation in the morning at Pukeariki with Te Atiawa, and then we went round to Taranaki's principal marae around the coast to sign the terms of negotiation in the afternoon. Ngā Ruahine came a little bit later. But since that time, I've come to know these iwi very, very well, and I have huge respect and affection for these iwi and their leaders. They have some of the best iwi leaders in the country. I've also come to know their history. It really has been the education of a public man, learning about the land wars, learning about the horrors of Parihaka, and the sadness that so many people have experienced for far too long. There is much I could say, but I choose not to. These are very dignified occasions, and it's not appropriate to descend into verbal slanging matches, particularly when we have guests in the gallery. What I do want to say to the iwi present today is that I'm going to do my utmost to see that we have a third reading of these bills as soon as possible. And as I've already communicated to the iwi, anyone who has suffered a loss as a result of the parliamentary actions over the last few days should contact the Office of Treaty Settlements. So, Mr. Speaker, I am very disappointed, but to quote the line from that song, In the Life of Brian, always look on the bright side of life. And it's when those three were all being crucified, I think. We will get through a lot of work today, and hopefully it's not going to be too long before we progress to third readings. So, Mr. Speaker, I welcome our friends in the gallery and I commend the bill to the House.